I got the text from my mom on a Tuesday afternoon, while I was fixing a server that was having what I can only describe as a digital nervous breakdown. Mom. Family dinner this Saturday at Bella Rosa. 6 p.m. Linda's organizing. Please come, honey. Linda's organizing. Those two words should have been a red flag. My Aunt Linda didn't just organize things, she orchestrated them, controlled them, weaponized them. But I was tired of being the one who always said no. So I texted back a thumbs up and went back to my dying server. I'm Ethan, by the way. 28. Middle child in a family where middle meant optional. I work IT support, boring, stable, pays the bills. My older sister Rebecca is a lawyer with power suits and heavy business cards. My younger brother Kyle is still finding himself at 24, which means living in mom and dad's basement streaming Valorant for 17 viewers. And me? I'm the dependable one. The one who shows up. The one who fixes things. The one nobody thinks about until they need something. Which is how I became the family babysitter for 10 years. It started when I was 16. Aunt Linda had just had Emma, her first kid. One Saturday, she called in a panic. Concert tickets, front row, babysitter cancelled. Could Ethan watch Emma? Just a few hours? I said yes. Emma cried for 2 straight hours. I didn't know babies could produce that much noise. When Linda and her husband Greg got home at midnight, 2 hours late, they found me slumped on the couch, Emma asleep on my chest, drool on my shoulder. You're a natural, Linda squealed. I wasn't. I was traumatized. But that, just this once, became every weekend. Then weeknights. Then Linda had Jake, then Lily. 3 kids under 10, all with the energy of caffeinated squirrels. And I never said no. Why? Because every time I hinted at maybe having plans, Linda deployed the guilt. We're family, Ethan. Family helps family. The kids love you so much. You're their favorite uncle. So I kept showing up. Friday nights reading Goodnight Moon. Saturday afternoons at Chuck E. Cheese. Sunday mornings making pancakes while mediating screaming matches over the blue plate. And Linda? Yoga retreats. Wine tastings. Spa days. Concerts. Weekend getaways to cabins with hot tubs. They live their lives. I watch their kids. For free. Always free. Because you don't charge family. The closest I came to asking for money was 3 years ago. I'd watched all 3 kids for an entire weekend while Linda and Greg went to Vegas. 72 hours of chaos. Jake got stomach flu. Emma lost a stuffed animal. Lily practiced recorder at 3 a.m. When they got back, suntanned and grinning, Linda breezed past me. Thanks so much. We brought you a keychain. It was a plastic slot machine that said, Lucky Sevens. Linda, I said carefully, maybe we could talk about some kind of arrangement. Like. Her face changed. Hurt. Disappointed. An arrangement? Ethan, I thought you loved spending time with the kids. I do, but if it's a burden, just say so. And suddenly I was the bad guy. I backpedaled. No, it's not a burden. It's fine. We'll figure something else out. She didn't speak to me for a month. Then everything went back to normal. More babysitting. More last-minute calls. More. You're a lifesaver. So I learned. Asking for anything, money, appreciation, basic acknowledgement, was selfish. I learned to smile. To say yes. To be convenient. For 7 more years. Until 2 weeks ago, when Linda sent a message to the family group chat. Linda. Family dinner at Bella Rosa this Saturday. We need to discuss something important. I almost ignored it. But Mom called directly. Please come, Ethan. Linda says it's important. And we haven't been together in so long. That's dumb. Because I'd stopped showing up to things. Quietly. Stopped going to elaborate birthday parties where I helped set up but never made the photos. Stopped attending holidays where I babysat in the basement, while adults drank wine upstairs. I'd started building a life that didn't revolve around being useful. But Mom sounded tired. And despite everything, I didn't want to be the reason she felt sad. So I said yes. One more time. Saturday came. I drove to Bella Rosa, one of those restaurants where menus have no prices and portions are tiny. The hostess led me to a private dining room. Everyone was already there. Mom and Dad looking uncomfortable. Rebecca scrolling her phone. Kyle in a hoodie that said, "I paused my game to be here." Linda and Greg sat at the head like a board meeting. Emma, Jake, and Lily colored quietly in the corner. And in front of Linda's seat? A leather-bound folder. My stomach dropped. "Ethan!" Linda lit up. "You made it! Sit!" She gestured to an empty chair at the far end. Near the kids. Of course. I sat. Emma ran over and hugged my leg. "Uncle Ethan!" "Hey, Em," I said, ruffling her hair. Linda cleared her throat. "Let's order first, then we'll talk." The waiter appeared, introduced himself as Dante, your culinary guide this evening, and took orders. I got the cheapest thing. Old habit. Appetizers came. Small talk flowed. Mom asking Rebecca about work. Dad asking Kyle about job applications. Linda talking about Lily's dance recital I wasn't invited to. I picked at my bread and waited. Because I knew something was coming. You don't rent a private room at an overpriced restaurant just to chat. Then, as main courses arrived, Linda tapped her wine glass with a fork. The sound cut through everything. "So," she said, smiling that sharp smile, "there's something Greg and I wanted to discuss." She opened the leather folder. Inside? A spreadsheet. Color-coded. Laminated. The title read, Family Financial Contribution Plan, 2015 to 2025. Oh no. This was about to get very, very bad. Linda slid the spreadsheet to the center of the table like she was unveiling a masterpiece. "So," she said, voice bright with rehearsed enthusiasm, "Greg and I have been doing a lot of reflecting. About family. About what it means to contribute." She gestured to the spreadsheet with both hands. "And we realized that over the past 10 years, we've invested a significant amount into keeping this family connected. Hosting holidays, birthdays, gatherings." My mom shifted uncomfortably. My dad studied his pasta. "We're not complaining," Linda continued. "We love doing it. But it's been expensive. And we think it's time everyone contributed their fair share." Rebecca looked up from her phone. "Wait, what?" Carol's smile never wavered. "We've itemized everything. Turkey dinners, decorations, birthday cakes, party supplies." She pointed to the spreadsheet. Color-coded columns. Green for food. Blue for entertainment. Red for miscellaneous. Red was very long. When we added it all up, Carol said, pausing for effect, it came to just over $90,000. Silence. The kind where everyone's brain short-circuits simultaneously. 90,000? My dad said slowly. Over 10 years. Greg added quickly. It averages out. Carol nodded. Exactly. And when we divide it among the adults, it comes to $15,000 per person. My mom went pale. Rebecca laughed. Not a funny laugh, a shocked laugh. "You're joking," Rebecca said. "I'm completely serious," Carol replied. "We're not asking for everything at once. We can set up a payment plan." A payment plan. For mandatory family functions nobody asked for. Kyle finally tuned in. "Wait, you want us to pay you for Thanksgiving?" "Not just Thanksgiving," Carol said. "Every holiday. Every birthday. Every gathering." "But I brought pies," my mom said weakly. "We've accounted for contributed items," Carol said, flipping pages. "This is your remaining balance." She slid individual invoices to each of us. Mine said $15,347. The extra $347 was for above-average food consumption. Something cracked inside my chest. Quietly. Like ice forming over water. Because Carol had spent 10 years itemizing turkey and tablecloths. But she never once counted the hours I gave her. My mom stammered. "Carol, we can't. Family doesn't charge each other," my dad said, trying to sound firm. Carol's smile tightened. "Family also doesn't take advantage of generosity." "Generosity?" Rebecca's voice went sharp. You're charging us for Christmas? I'm asking for fairness. Then stop hosting! The table erupted. Everyone talking over each other. Mom trying to mediate. Dad pinching his nose. Kyle confused about everything. And me? I sat quiet, staring at my invoice. $15,000 for events I attended out of obligation. For holidays where I babysat in the basement. For birthdays where my presence was expected but never celebrated. Then I thought about the other number. The one I'd been sitting on for 2 weeks. When Carol sent that group message about discussing something important, I knew. 10 years of being taken for granted teaches you pattern recognition. So I'd done my homework. I'd gone through my calendar. Old planners. Text messages. Can you watch the kids? Every weekend. Every emergency. I'd counted the hours. All of them. Then I looked up professional childcare rates. $25 per hour. Per child. I'd built my own spreadsheet. The total? $187,500. I'd been carrying that number for 2 weeks, hoping I wouldn't need it. But now, staring at Carol's invoice, listening to her lecture about fairness, I reached into my jacket. I stood up. Not dramatically. Just stood. The arguing stopped. Everyone looked at me. Ethan? My mom said nervously. I looked at Carol. You want to talk about fairness? My voice was calm. Too calm. Carol blinked. Yes. That's what this is about. Good, I said. Then let's talk. I pulled out my phone. Opened my file. Turned the screen toward her. This is my invoice. Carol squinted. Her expression shifted from confused to irritated to something else. Fear. What is this? She whispered. 10 years of babysitting. I said. Itemized. Every weekend. Every weeknight. Every emergency. I pulled up the summary. Conservative estimate, 2,500 hours. Based only on times I can prove through texts and calendar. Professional rate, $25 per hour, per child. When I had all three, that's $75 per hour. My mom's hand went to her mouth. $75 per hour. 2,500 hours. That's $187,500. Silence. Complete silence. Carol's face went from pale to red to ash. You can't be serious. Oh, I'm completely serious. I said. You want me to pay $15,000 for dinners I didn't ask for? Fine. Pay me first. Then we'll call it even. That's not the same thing. Carol's voice cracked. Your family. You don't charge family. The irony hung in the air. I smiled. Not nicely. You're right. I don't charge family. Which is why for 10 years I never asked for $1. Not when you went to Vegas. Not when you went to wellness retreats. Not when you took weekend trips while I stayed home with your kids. We trusted you. You used me. I corrected. There's a difference. Carol stood shaking. How dare you throw our trust back like this? Trust? I laughed. Carol, you didn't trust me. You just knew I'd say yes. Because I was convenient. That's not fair. Fair? My voice rose. Every weekend for 10 years. I showed up. Never complained. Never asked for anything. And you know what you gave me? I pulled out my wallet. From it, the plastic keychain from Vegas. Lucky sevens. I set it on the table. That's what 10 years was worth to you. A $2 keychain. Carol's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Greg spoke. Ethan, come on. You don't get to take me for granted for 10 years then hand me a bill and expect me to smile. I looked around the table. At my parents who wouldn't meet my eyes. At Rebecca, shocked. At Kyle, processing slowly. Then at the kids. Still coloring. Oblivious. I love those kids, I said quietly. That was never about money. But you? I looked at Carol. You just turned it into a transaction. So fine. Let's transact. I pulled out 2 20s. Set them down. That's for my meal. The rest of you can split Carol's spreadsheet. I grabbed my jacket. Ethan, don't you dare. Carol started. I stopped. Turned. Watch me. I walked out. Past the hostess. Past the confused waiter. Into the cold parking lot. Behind me, a chair scraped. Footsteps. Carol's voice cracking. Ethan! Get back here! I got in my car. Started the engine. In my rearview mirror, Carol stood in the parking lot, holding her spreadsheet. She looked smaller than I'd ever seen her. And for the first time in 10 years, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. The first night after the dinner, I slept like a dead man. No guilt. No second guessing. No voices telling me I'd overreacted. Just silence. The kind that comes from finally putting down the weight you were never meant to carry. I woke up to 32 text messages and 14 missed calls. Most were from Linda. They started angry. Linda, you embarrassed me in front of the entire family. How dare you? Linda, I trusted you with my children and this is how you repay me? Then desperate. Linda, Ethan, please. Can we just talk? I didn't mean to upset you. Linda, the kids are asking about you. Emma's crying. Then back to angry. Linda, fine. Be that way. Don't expect me to forget this. I deleted them all without responding. My mom texted too. Mom, honey, I know you're upset, but Linda is family. Can you please just apologize so we can move past this? Apologize. For what? For finally standing up for myself? I didn't respond. Rebecca sent a voice memo. I almost didn't listen, but curiosity won. Ethan. Her voice came through careful, measured. Look, I get it. Linda can be intense. But that invoice thing? You kind of nuked the whole dinner. Maybe just talk to her? She's really upset. I deleted it. Kyle's text was simpler. Dude, WTF happened at dinner? Mom says you had a meltdown. I replied. I didn't have a meltdown. I just stopped being convenient. Kyle. I didn't explain further. The only text that made me pause was from my dad. Dad, I don't know what to say. But I'm sorry we didn't see it sooner. Not quite an apology. But acknowledgement. After 10 years of being invisible, that was something. I made coffee. Sat on my tiny balcony. Watched the city wake up below me. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Ethan? A small voice. Emma. My chest tightened. Hey, Em. Why didn't you come back? Mom said you left because you were mad. I closed my eyes. I wasn't mad, sweetheart. I just needed to go. Are you coming back? Jake wants to show you his new Lego set. And Lily made you a drawing. God, this was hard. I don't know yet, Em. But it's not because of you guys, okay? I love you three. But you don't love Mom? The question hit like a punch. It's complicated, I said quietly. Adults always say that when they mean no. Smart kid. Linda's voice came through the background, sharp. Emma, give me the phone. Now. A shuffle. Then Linda. Ethan. We need to talk. No, we don't. Yes, we do. You can't just. I can, actually. Watch me. I hung up. Blocked the number. Then I sat there, heart pounding, waiting for the guilt to flood in. It didn't come. Just relief. The next few days were quiet. I went to work, fixed servers, came home. My phone stayed mostly silent. The family group chat, the one I'd muted months ago, occasionally lit up with notifications I didn't read. Then, 4 days after the dinner, Rebecca showed up at my apartment. I opened the door to find her standing there in her work clothes, holding 2 coffees and a bag from the bakery near my office. Before you slam the door, she said, these are peace offerings. And I'm not here to lecture you. I hesitated. Then stepped aside. She came in, looked around my small apartment with the kind of assessment lawyers do, cataloging, evaluating, forming opinions. Nice place, she said, though we both knew it wasn't. It's mine, I replied. She handed me a coffee and a chocolate croissant. We sat on my couch, a second-hand thing I'd gotten off Craigslist that sagged in the middle. So, she said, that was quite the dinner. I bit into the croissant and waited. Linda's losing her mind, Rebecca continued. She's convinced you're going to sue her or post about it online or something. I'm not. I know. But she's spiraling. Greg's trying to calm her down, but honestly, I think he's more embarrassed than anything. Good. Rebecca sipped her coffee. Mom wants you to apologize. Dad's staying out of it. Kyle doesn't understand what happened. And me? She paused. I think you were right. That surprised me. Really? Really? I mean, the invoice was nuclear. But Linda's been using you for years. We all saw it. We just didn't say anything because, well... She shrugged. It was easier not to. Easier for who? Everyone. Including you, until it wasn't. She wasn't wrong. The thing is, Rebecca said carefully, Linda's convinced she did nothing wrong. She thinks you're being petty. Vindictive. That you took advantage of her trust. I laughed. Actually laughed. Her trust? I know. It's delusional. But that's where her head's at. So what do you want from me, Rebecca? You want me to go back and pretend everything's fine? No, she said firmly. I want you to know that what you did, it was brave. Maybe a little insane. But brave. She set down her coffee. I also want you to know that not everyone's on Linda's side. Dad's been thinking. Mom's just scared of conflict. But me? I'm with you. Why are you telling me this? Because you're my brother. And because for once, someone in this family stood up and said enough. That matters. We sat in silence for a moment. Then Rebecca stood. One more thing, she said, pulling out her phone. Linda's been trying to rally people. She sent this to the extended family. She showed me a message. A long, rambling text about how hurt Linda was. How ungrateful I'd been. How she'd given me so much, and I'd thrown it back in her face. At the bottom, please help me reach out to Ethan. He needs to understand what he's done. I read it twice. Felt something cold settle in my chest. Did anyone respond? I asked. Rebecca smiled slightly. A few. Mostly older relatives who don't know the full story. But Aunt Trish? She replied with, maybe you should have paid him. I barked a laugh. Anyway, Rebecca said, heading for the door. I'm not here to tell you what to do. Just wanted you to know you're not alone in this. Thanks, Beck. She paused at the door. By the way, that spreadsheet you made? Can I get a copy? I'm thinking of doing something similar for all the times I covered Kyle's car insurance. I grinned. I'll email it to you. After she left, I sat there with my coffee and croissant, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Not just relief. Not just vindication. Clarity. I wasn't the bad guy in this story. I wasn't the ungrateful nephew. I wasn't the one who'd weaponized family. I was just the one who'd finally said no. And apparently, that was the most unforgivable thing I could have done. 2 days later, I got an email from Greg. Subject line: Can we talk? The email was short. Ethan, I know things got heated at the dinner. Linda's upset. I'm not going to defend what she said or how she approached it. But I think there's been a misunderstanding. Can we meet? Just you and me. Coffee. Neutral ground. No ambush, I promise. I stared at the email for a long time. Part of me wanted to ignore it. To let Greg and Linda stew in their own mess. But another part, the part that remembered Greg teaching me how to change a tire when I was 17, the part that remembered him being decent when Linda wasn't around, that part was curious. So I replied, Thursday. 3 p.m., the coffee shop on Vine Street. Just you. Thursday came. I showed up 5 minutes early, ordered a black coffee, and sat at a table near the window. Greg arrived exactly on time. He looked tired. Older than I remembered. He sat down across from me, no pleasantries, no small talk. Thanks for meeting me, he said. I nodded. Look, he began, I'm not here to defend Linda. What she did at that dinner, the whole spreadsheet thing, it was stupid. Tone deaf. I told her it was a bad idea. But you went along with it. I did, he admitted. And that's on me. He stirred sugar into his coffee even though I'd never seen him drink sweet coffee before. Nervous habit. The thing is, Ethan, Linda's been struggling. Financially. Emotionally. She won't admit it, but she's overwhelmed. She sees other people living these perfect lives online and feels like she's failing. So she threw that dinner because in her mind, if everyone contributed, it would validate everything she'd done. Prove it mattered. That's not my problem, I said flatly. I know. I'm not asking you to fix it. I'm just explaining. Explaining doesn't change what happened. Greg nodded slowly. You're right. But I need you to understand, she didn't mean to hurt you. She genuinely doesn't see what she did wrong. That's the problem, Greg. She doesn't see me at all. She never has. He flinched at that. I watched your kids for 10 years. I continued, voice steady. I gave up weekends, nights, plans. I never asked for anything. And the one time I tried? Linda made me feel like a selfish asshole. So I stopped asking. I just kept showing up. Because that's what you do for family. I leaned forward. But when she needed money? Suddenly I'm useful again. Suddenly I'm worth remembering. Not because she values me. But because she needs something. Greg was quiet for a long moment. You're right, he said finally. We took you for granted. I took you for granted. And that invoice you showed? It put a mirror up to something I didn't want to see. So what now? I don't know, Greg admitted. Linda wants you to apologize. I told her that's insane. But she's stubborn. So am I. Greg almost smiled at that. Yeah. I'm starting to see that. He stood up. Pulled an envelope from his jacket pocket. Set it on the table. This isn't payment, he said. It's not even close. But it's a start. I looked at the envelope but didn't touch it. I can't undo 10 years, Greg said. But I can acknowledge them. Whether you forgive Linda or not, whether you ever come back around, that's up to you. But I wanted you to know that I see it now. What you did. What you gave. And I'm sorry we didn't say it sooner. He left without waiting for a response. I sat there for another 20 minutes, staring at the envelope. Finally, I opened it. Inside was a check. Made out to me. For $18,000. Not the full amount. Not even close. But enough to say, you were right. I folded the check. Put it back in the envelope. And walked out into the afternoon sun. I didn't cash it right away. Not because I didn't want the money. But because cashing it felt like accepting something that couldn't be bought. Validation doesn't come with a price tag. Still, it sat on my desk for days. A reminder that at least one person had looked at the math and realized what it meant. That my time had value. That I had value. And maybe, just maybe, this whole mess had been worth it. 3 weeks after the dinner, I cashed Greg's check. I put half into savings. Used the other half to upgrade my gaming setup and take myself to a steak dinner that cost more than Linda's turkey ever did. Life moved on. Work stayed busy. I picked up freelance IT consulting. Started thinking about a bigger apartment. The family group chat stayed muted. Notifications came, birthdays, holiday plans, but I didn't open them. Then, 6 weeks later, an unknown number. Unknown. Uncle Ethan? It's Emma. I got my own phone for my birthday. Mom doesn't know I'm texting. My chest tightened. Me. Hey Em. Happy birthday. Emma. 14. Mom said you probably forgot. Me. I didn't forget. Emma. Did we do something wrong? Is that why you don't come around? Me. No, Em. You didn't do anything wrong. This is between me and your mom. Emma. Mom says you're being selfish. That you hurt her for no reason. There it was. Linda's version, fed to her kids. Me. Your mom and I see things differently. But I love you guys. That hasn't changed. Emma. Then why did you leave us? That one gutted me. Me. Sometimes adults need space. It doesn't mean I stopped caring. Emma. Jake wants to know if you'll come to his birthday next month. I imagined walking back into that house. Linda's tight smile. The forced small talk. Pretending nothing happened. Me. I don't think that's a good idea right now. Emma. Yeah. Mom said you probably wouldn't. Me. Tell Jake I'll send him something, okay? Emma. Okay. Bye, Uncle Ethan. I set my phone down. The weight of what I'd given up for peace settled heavy. It wasn't just Linda. It was those kids. The ones who didn't understand why their favorite uncle disappeared. But going back meant all of it. The expectations. The erasure of boundaries. So I didn't. I sent Jake a gift card and a video game. Got a thank you text from Greg, not Linda. Life continued. Different. Quieter. Mine. Thanksgiving came. I spent it with friends from work and gaming group. Store-bought turkey, boxed potatoes, Costco pie. It was perfect. Rebecca texted during dinner. Mom keeps asking if you're coming. I told her you had plans. Me. I do. Good ones. Rebecca. Proud of you. I posted a photo that night. Me and friends raising glasses. Caption. Thankful for people who show up. I didn't tag anyone. But I knew Linda would see it. Next morning, voicemail from Mom. Ethan, honey. I saw your post. We miss you. It didn't feel right without you here. Your father and I have been talking. About everything. About how we handled things. Pause. Gathering courage. You were right. About Linda. About all of it. We should have said something years ago. Should have stood up for you. Instead we just let it happen. And I'm sorry. Another pause. You don't have to call back. I just needed to say it. I love you, sweetheart. I sat there, feeling something crack. The kind that lets light in. I didn't call back immediately. But I saved the voicemail. Because sometimes acknowledgement is enough. Validation that you weren't crazy. December came. Holiday parties. Secret Santa. I sent cards to Emma, Jake, and Lily with notes. I'm always here if you need me. I didn't hear back. Hadn't expected to. 3 days before Christmas, someone knocked. My dad. Holding a small wrapped box. Hey, kid. Hey, Dad. He came in, looked around. Nice place. It's small. It's yours. He handed me the box. Inside, a framed photo. Me at 16, holding baby Emma. I looked terrified. Emma screaming. But I was smiling. Below, in Mom's handwriting. The best uncle they could have asked for. My throat tightened. Your mom found that going through old pictures, Dad said. Made her realize how long this has been going on. How much you gave. He cleared his throat. We enabled Linda. We knew what she was doing. That wasn't fair to you. No. It wasn't. I'm not asking you to forgive her. Or us. Just know that we see it now. We see you. He looked at me, really looked for the first time in years. You did the right thing. Walking away. Setting boundaries. We're proud of you. Thanks, Dad. He headed for the door. Stopped. Linda's struggling. Greg's thinking about leaving. She's finally starting to realize what she lost. Good. I said. Honestly, not cruelly. Dad almost smiled. Yeah. Good. After he left, I hung the photo on my wall. Next to my certifications. Next to Lily's drawing. A reminder of what I was. What I gave. And what I refused to give anymore. Christmas came and went with Rebecca and her husband. Quiet. Simple. No invoices. New Year's rolled around. I made resolutions. Exercise more. Read more. Maybe date. But the real resolution? Never again would I shrink myself to fit someone else's convenience. Never again would I mistake being used for being loved. Never again would I apologize for knowing my worth. New Year's Day, one final text. From Linda. Linda. I hope you're happy. You destroyed this family. I read it twice. then typed. Me. I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped rebuilding what you kept breaking. I hit send. Blocked her number. For good. Because some bridges aren't worth maintaining. Some families are better loved from a distance. The only thing I owed now was to myself. To show up for me the way I'd shown up for everyone else. To value my time the way I'd valued theirs. To build a life where I wasn't convenient, I was chosen. And that was worth more than any spreadsheet could calculate.